Hey guys, today I'm headed to the Houses of Parliament, as you can see behind, and I'm going to be interviewing Adam Dance for season 2 of my interview channel.
Great, well it's brilliant for you to come in today and come and see me and ask me some questions. Do you want to fire away with your first question?
Yes. Please can you introduce yourself?
So I'm Adam Dance and I'm the Member of Parliament for the Oval constituency, which I've done since July the 4th, and before that I was a Cabinet Member at Somerset Council for Public Health, Equality and Diversity, and I had my own landscape gardening company.
Cool. Tell me about your career.
So my career has been a bit sporadic really, because I started off in politics in a bit of a different way. So I only got involved in politics because I was quite bullied at school quite a bit. And my local youth centre gave me a lot of support to support me while that was going on. And then one day the Conservative run council did a 100% cut to youth services in Somerset. So that's how I first got involved in politics when I was 14, because I wanted to save my youth club because it really supported me with my dyslexia and ADHD. And then I moved on into politics a bit higher up into the district council and became Cabinet Member for planning. So any house building which went on in my area I had to look at, and I was determining the planning. And then one day I thought, you know, looking at the way the government's going, there's not enough people in government who, I call them real people, people who have been through the education system, who've worked theirself, but actually who have disabilities as well, because how can this government be supporting children in school with SEND education if they don't have people in government who actually are openly able to speak about the issues they've had in their life? So that's what really pushed me. And it was about 2 years ago I decided to put myself forward to stand and become a Member of Parliament. Okay,
and what's a Cabinet Member?
So a Cabinet Member at the Council is a bit like the Cabinet here really. So the controlling party, so in government at the moment it's the Labour Party, and Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, will appoint his Cabinet, so they're in charge basically of departments. So I was in charge of a department which was public health, ranging from drug and alcohol services to sexual health services to healthy eating in schools. And I was overseeing seeing a budget of £22 million in Somerset, working with my staff and making sure we delivered the best population health we could.
Okay, I understand that you're dyslexic. What was your school life hard?
I found school quite difficult. First of all, at infant school, where my dyslexia wasn't diagnosed, I struggled as well saying certain words. So I remember one day, and I must have been only 6 or 7, my mum having to come and pick me up from school because I'd been sent home because I'd said words which wasn't the words I was meant to say, but they sounded the same. And I used to get tarnished as being that child who wasn't wanting to learn or couldn't learn, but actually deep down I was really struggling trying to get what I wanted to on paper. So my early start in life was quite difficult. Later on I went to obviously primary school and secondary school, and I did have the support there. I had a teaching assistant in most of my lessons. I had extra time, I had a reader, writer. If I hadn't had that support, I wouldn't be where I am today. And my biggest concern is that actually we seem to be going backwards in life at the moment, because there seems to be less support now in school than there was when I was in school, and I only left in 2008, so not a long time ago. So I did struggle, but when I had that support I really came alive, and I would never have got my grades if I hadn't had the support. So I think it's really important that we do get the support in school.
Did the kids used to bully you?
I did have some bullying, yeah, because I suppose because I wasn't the first to do certain things, or I couldn't get words on paper, children would take the mick. But also I used to be naughty because I wanted to try and sort of get the children's attention in a different way, so they didn't realise how I was struggling. So then of course they would think I was a bit of a joker, and actually that probably wasn't the way to be, but I did it because I didn't want to be bullied anymore.
Was that just in infant school? Or?
No, I had that really through my whole schooling career. And what I used to do to get a bit of a break is every half term or summer holidays, I'd go to work with my dad. My dad was a builder, so I'd go to work and I'd use my physical skills to be able to sort of focus on something else. So when I'd go back to school, I'd earned money all through the summer holidays, and I could save that up to do something I wanted to do. And that really gave me motivation in life to think, well, I've achieved that and no one can take that away from me.
Yeah. And what is your superpower of dyslexia?
I think my superpower is realising that people are struggling, so I can see sometimes how people are struggling. And I say that's probably my superpower, but my other superpower is thinking in a different way. And if you ask any of my friends, I'm not very good at switching off either. So I'm always doing something. I'm not one to sit around not doing anything. I always want to be doing something. So I'd say my superpower is being engaging, really.
So is it hard for you to go to sleep then?
Yeah, I don't sleep very well at all. And actually, sometimes you look at my emails, I'm sending emails at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, all different. Because one part of my dyslexia is I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, wow, I've got to do this. Unless I do it then, I might forget, or I sometimes keep a notepad next to my bed.
So that like reminds you of
what to do, yeah.
Who has been your biggest influence in life and has been there someone in particular who has always believed in you and helped you overcome a problem?
I think my gran would have been my biggest influence because she was always there for me when I was younger, and I used to go and stay with her every weekend. And we all know our grandparents, you can never do no wrong. So if the school or my mum would say, oh, Adam's done this today, my gran would be like, oh, it's absolutely fine, Adam. Even to the point where I went on my first abroad holiday when I was 18, and it was about 4 a.m. and I just rang my gran. I said, Gran, I'm walking back to the hotel and I'm a bit nervous. Will you just stay on the phone? And normally if I'd rung my mum at 4 o'clock in the morning, I would have got a very sharp, what are you doing ringing me? So my gran just stayed on the phone to me the whole time. It's a shame, but unfortunately my gran died a few years ago, so she hasn't seen me become an MP, but I think she'd be really proud.
Sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you.
What is your biggest challenge in life and how have you overcome it?
Probably my biggest challenge is becoming an MP, because I always thought I couldn't do it because of my dyslexia, also my ADHD, and I'm not very good at sort of thinking I'm doing well in things. And I suppose my biggest achievement, which I've struggled to get over, would be that actually to become an MP, you have to do a lot of written work beforehand to go through processes to get approved. And I found that really tough. And someone who left school at 16 and then went on to become a bricklayer landscaper, I wasn't really doing much reading and writing anymore. So I took myself to have some private tuition to be able to get myself good enough to, but that took me a lot of mind power to think, right, you've got to do this. So that was really hard, but I'm really glad I did it and pushed myself. And one thing I would say to everyone is that if you don't think you can do something, sit back, have a break, have a breath, and just try again, because you can deliver what you really want to achieve in life.
Did people ever discourage you?
A couple people did, but not in a way saying I couldn't do it, but more sort of, are you sure you want to do this, because your life is going to be very different. So I was never discouraged that I couldn't do it. I was more discouraged because people cared about my welfare.
Yeah. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I think I give my advice to myself is to take a breath when things get tough, not act out straight away. I probably should give that to my older self as well, really. And just to think you can achieve things and be more positive about myself, because I find that quite hard.
Were you negative when you were younger?
I'm very negative, because I always believed I couldn't do things. I always put myself down, and if I could change that, I probably would, because actually I should believe in myself more.
And did you like give up?
I never gave up, because I think in life you just got to keep fighting for what you believe in. If you give up, the haters just win, really. And then bullies, it's quite interesting, because I went to a school reunion and the people who bullied me were there, and I've achieved a lot more in my life than they've achieved. And actually one of them came up to me and shook my hand and apologised for the way they treated me at school. So that was a real achievement, really, for me, to keep going and prove to people that you can do it.
Yeah. So you proved those bullies wrong.
Yeah.
If you had all the money in the world, what would you do with it?
Oh, that's a hard one, isn't it? I think if I had
Yeah.
all the money in the world, I'd probably start off by going to the charities which I've met since I've become an MP, the homeless charities, the Dyslexia Association, the Dentist Association, and I'd go and say to them, what, if I give you this amount of money, what can you achieve for the good of the people? I'd also try and build more houses for homeless people, because at the moment homelessness has gone up massively with the way the country's going financially. But one thing is, money never builds happiness. So
Yeah.
one thing I would always say to anyone is strive for what you believe in. Don't strive for the money, strive in what you believe in and be passionate, because you can have all the money in the world and you still can't achieve the things you may want to achieve, and just be your unique self, really.
Yeah, so like strive like what makes you happy
Yeah.
and what you like.
And what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
The money will always follow, because if you're really doing what you want to do, it's all about being happy in life. We've got one life, we're here once, and we really need to make it the best for our unique selves we possibly can.
Yeah. What motivates you?
I think what motivates me and gets me out of bed in the morning is that I can make a real difference. And I can't do it on my own, and that's the other thing to really remember about life, but also this job, is it's the team behind me.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the team, I wouldn't be my strongest self. And what motivates me is actually closing cases and delivering and helping people. And even meeting people like yourself. I mean, you're a fantastic young person and you're going to go far in life, and it's fantastic what you're doing, and you should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you. I want to become a CEO in the future. What advice would you give me?
I think the advice I'd give you is just believe in yourself, always push for what you want to do, and work hard, and you'll get there. I have faith that you'll do it. You're doing so well at such a young age, a lot better than I was at your age, and I think you'll be absolutely fantastic. And I look forward, when you do become a CEO, of you inviting me to one of your meetings.
Yeah. I'm sure you were all right when you were like good when you were younger too.
Oh, thank you.
What is your like daily routine of an MP?
Well, that is something which is different every day. So a Monday morning, I'm normally driving up to London. So I live in Somerset, so it's about 3.5 hour drive. And I choose to drive because of my dyslexia and ADHD. I find it a lot calmer in the car, because I can focus on doing phone calls or listening to audio, emails or audiobooks, or having a colleague with me talking to me, which is very difficult on the train, especially when you sit in the silent area and get told to be quiet.
Yeah.
So my routine is come here on a Monday, and we can be working up until 10, 11 o'clock at night. So last week, for example, I needed to go back to Yeovil on Tuesday, and I thought I'll get a train this time back on Monday evening. But I didn't finish voting till 10:45 at night, so there was no trains. So 3 days a week in London, 4 days in the constituency. So yesterday I went and judged a dog show competition, which was really good fun. This week on Friday I'm actually speaking in front of 130 people at Yeovil College about how I got involved in politics. So each week's really different, and it has challenges and it can be quite stressful, but I do enjoy it.
That is a long way to come, so you must like enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
What was your first job?
My first job was cleaning bricks when I was 14 years old. So when old houses got knocked down, the bricks would come into the reclamation yard with some old cement on, and I used to clean them with an axe. And I used to get 5p a brick, which doesn't sound much money now, but when you're 14 and I was doing 1,000 a day, that was £50 a day, and back then that was a lot of money. So that was my first ever job, and I did that just because I wanted to earn my own money and be able to do what I wanted to do.
Tell me your biggest setback in the last 10 years.
I think my biggest setback in the last 10 years.
That's a hard question.
It is a hard question. I think one thing I would say is I always try, if there is a big setback, I try and forget about it and move on in a positive way.
Yeah.
I could tell you about a setback which was just over 10 years ago. It was the first time I ever stood in an election. It was 2013. And earlier on I said to you about my youth club.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get on the county council to reopen the youth club. So I stood in my first ever election, and it was in a seat which they said you're never going to win anyway. But I tried my best, and I didn't win the seat. So I would say that's probably my biggest setback, but in a way that setback gave me the ambition and strive to keep fighting. So I then won the next election with the biggest majority in the whole of Somerset. So it gave me more power to sort of win that seat.
Yeah. And why were you unhappy like when you lost?
I was unhappy for about a week, and then I actually was quite relieved because I was only 22. And actually at that time I probably wasn't really ready. So when I went back when I was a few years older, actually for me then that really was the right time to do it.
And do you get worried like when elections happen?
Oh, always. I normally lose weight, so elections are quite good for me for losing weight, because I get quite stressed, because the thing is, it's not in your hands, it's in the voters' hands.
Yeah.
And you imagine all this work you put in over years, and then you go and you see, and you're at the count and you don't win, and you think, well, have I failed, or is it national politics which have changed it, or have I not delivered for my local community? So it's always a worry, and I think that's why it's important to keep doing as much as you possibly can throughout the years to please residents, really.
Yeah. What failures have you experienced?
Obviously losing that election. I've also had some failures which haven't been at fault of mine or within my team, but sometimes things happen which you don't have control over. So for example, I could put something in to ask a PMQ into the shuffle each week, and I haven't been selected yet in that shuffle to ask a PMQ. Well, that's not us failing, it's the system which hasn't chosen us yet. So I'm very much still hopeful that we will choose that. I suppose the other thing I could say I thought I was going to fail was my exams at school, but I put the willpower in, and lucky enough I did get the grades I needed.
Well done. And what's a PMQ?
So parliamentary, Prime Minister's question. So that's a question to Keir Starmer in the chamber on a Wednesday. So that's where you ask the question and he has to stand up and answer you that question. And there's only about 5 or 6 each week, with 600 and so MPs. It's quite hard to get anyway. So I will keep trying. If not, I'll start bobbing in PMQs so I can maybe get picked that way.
Have you ever got it picked?
Not for PMQs, not yet, but I have been picked when I've bobbed other times to ask questions.
What are your values in life?
I think my real values are, if you were to look inside me, is community. So for me, the community is really important to me, and community can mean more than just your community, but the way you are connecting with people. I also, my values are I care, I like to support people, and I feel like I'm quite fair as well and don't try to judge people too easily.
Yeah. How did you develop yourself to become an MP?
I think a lot of my development was trial and error, really. A lot of it was learning from some of the mistakes, but also learning from other people. So I spent a lot of time with other politicians locally, which developed my skills. And being on the council beforehand, it was I call it my apprenticeship, really.
Yeah.
So some MPs haven't been involved in government or local government before, and if I could change that, I would say that anyone who becomes an MP should be at least start as a parish councillor, a district, county or unitary, because that's doing your apprenticeship in government, really, to see what the job's all about.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
No, thank you very much for your time. I think you're a very inspiring young man, and I wish you all the luck in the future. Thank you very much.